How you doing, man?
I'm excited. I'm good. I'm really good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I hope you guys are welcome back to another episode of the New Block Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Chris, aka Prince, with the homie Duran, aka Medic Grizzly. And we are doing another episode of our Tuesday Thrones podcast, where we break down Song of Ice and Fire books chapter by chapter. We are on a Game of Thrones Catelyn 3 this week. Duran, we've been saying it for a couple of weeks, but this is really when things start to get real messy for our folks up in Winterfell. So we were reading John last week? Was it John last week we were on?
Was it? I thought it was Tyrion. Then it went to.
Yeah, John is right before her. Yeah, John is right before her. Now we're back in Winterfell, and long story short, because I really just want to get your reaction to this. Rob kind of comes in and is comforting Catelyn about Bran and trying to get her to look, we've got appointments that we need made. You know, a lot of our stewards, a lot of our household titles left with Ned Stark when he went south with the king. So, we need a new master of horses. We need a new this and do that. And Catelyn's she's just not hearing any of it, right? She's still just knee deep in grief, to the point where Rob comes in and he's just like, Mr. Lewin, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Just give us a second. So Rob is trying to comfort Catelyn. And this is where, I understand Catelyn's grieving, but she forgets that she has other kids. Sometimes she gets locked in, and you see Rob having to grow up so quickly. Remember, he's only 14 years old at this point.
That's it. Yes.
And he has to basically be Lord of Winterfell because his dad's gone, and his mom is.
She's not there, dude. She's not there.
She's not there. She's not there mentally. So, and for a second there, Catelyn kind of, she even has in her head here, I used to always think that he looked like a Tully, but him, and she does this a lot in the books. When Rob kind of puts his serious face on, she calls it putting on the face of the Lord of Winterfell, which is something that he obviously picked up from his dad, because we've gotten almost that same wording verbatim when they talk about Ned kind of not being dad and being Warden of the North, right? So kind of changing that face. Mm-hmm. So they're talking about the direwolves. And you see here the connection that the Stark kids have with their wolves, because they talk about how when the window was open and that the wolves are howling in a chorus, it almost seems to give Bran a little bit of life back, right? So again, it's another one of those little things where George is just telling you, hey, these are important. These are important. These are important. What did you... Obviously, you've seen the show, but what did you think about the scene where that assassin comes in and tries to kill Bran and Catelyn?
The coolest thing about the assassin, let's go back a little bit, was that Catelyn even made a comment saying, I can't stand the sound of those wolves. Kill them. That's how much she... And Rob's like, well, we're not going to do that. It's right. We're not doing that at all. But it tells you how distraught she was and how she wanted to kill them. Let's fast forward into all of a sudden the dogs were howling. And everyone said the dogs never do that. They look outside, they see the libraries on fire, and then everyone's rushing there. Then you go the assassin that hops into the room and basically repeats that, hey, you're not supposed to be here. The plan was for me to put the fire on, and then everybody says, leave here so I can take Bran out of his misery. And Catelyn being, because she was so distraught and so just, I'm going to say hungry to be a mom to just one child, she didn't leave, which was the best thing she's ever done because she stayed there for that moment. But then to have the wolf come and save you, the very, very creature that you wanted to get rid of 20 minutes ago, come by and save you. It was poetic. I loved everything about it. Also, the detail of her struggle, of her getting sliced with trying to hold the hands.
Yeah.
And then also, it just makes you feel as an audience oh, he about to get body. He about to take this lady out. He about to kill Bran. Everyone also shows you the naive of Rob. It shows you a little bit of He is not there yet because he took everyone to the library, not thinking that this could be still a child mentality, not thinking this could be an ambush or that. And hopefully it changes him moving forward in the books. But apple didn't fall too far from tree in some aspects. It just
and I'm not gonna knock Rob for that.
Yes.
But I totally understand what you're saying though, because like in that moment, everyone's panicking. It's just like, oh, everyone's gonna go over here and try to put the fire out. But that is a lesson that they do learn of like, hey, Bran's gonna be guarded day and night. Someone in the room, someone at the door, 2 at the stairs. No one's allowed up there unless me or my mother say so. That's what Rob says, right? So, all right. So here comes the really juicy speculative part of all of this. Catelyn wakes up a couple days later after she's treated for her wounds and everything. And Sir Roderick's there, Theon's there, Rob's there, Maester Luwin is there. They start doing some investigating. Obviously, no one knows who this guy is. He obviously snuck in under, the king's retainers with all the commotion going on. But they make a note to inspect the murder weapon. Way too nice of a blade for such a man. Valyrian steel, dragon bone hilt. This is a very rare weapon.
Oh, the rich
It's
man.
a very expensive weapon. It's a very exclusive weapon. A man like this only has this weapon if someone gave it to him. So there's a lot of theories out there in the fandom here. And if you guys have read the books, would love to, even if you guys have just seen the show, would love to get your perspective and your thoughts on this. Obviously, someone sent him there to kill Bran.
Absolutely.
Who? Because this is never answered.
They also mentioned his hair. They said if this foul smell came from because he was not in the horses, but the hair was blonde, if I'm correct. Okay.
Correct.
I'll be keying in a little bit on the map. I'm going towards the Lannisters, okay? But I don't think any Lannister that was currently there has a sack to do that. I think we're going
to that takes a lot of balls.
Yeah. And also planning and everything. So I think on impulse, pushing out through everything, that was impulse to save the actual moment. But to come back and double back and say, yo, we got to get rid of this person, no evidence. I'm going to think it was Daddy. I think Daddy played a part in that. I think it got back. That's what I think.
King Robert?
No, not King Robert.
Oh, who?
Lannisters.
Oh, Jaime?
Jaime's dad. I really do.
You think Tywin? No, because Tywin wasn't there.
No, I said I don't think anyone there had the balls. I think word got back about everything that's going on.
No, but like,
I really do.
Okay, I hear you, but
I don't think so.
Because they were only, she says at the beginning of the chapter, Ned and the girls were only 8 days gone. I don't think word could have gotten back all the way to Casterly Rock to Tywin at that point. I think it was. Here's my theory. It had to have been either Jaime, Cersei, or Joffrey.
No.
It had to have been.
Then it's Cersei. Absolutely, it's Cersei. She's the only menace there really is. Like I don't think Jaime would do that. It is always the mystery. We said we don't really know. But I'm just thinking about personality traits at the moment. At the moment, who's the one who was most vicious and serious out of all of them?
Okay, here's what I'll say. I agree with you about Jaime because I don't think that's not a move Jaime Lannister would make in that situation.
No,
because Jaime would do it himself. Jaime would not hire an assassin to do that. So that tells me it's either Joffrey or Cersei.
Absolutely, Joffrey's too. I don't think Joffrey had him yet either. I think Joffrey was one of those fake punks that like was trying to be tough in front of everyone else when all the kids are around. But that's a different level to even think.
No. I know that. The only reason why people, and there have been lots of theories about who's responsible for this, because remember they were talking about it in the yard. I remember Tyrion was telling Joffrey, "Hey, you need to go up and sit and pay your respects. You're the crown prince. Your absence has been noted. blah, 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 whatever. Also, too, as nuts as Cersei is, I don't think she's as much of a fool to arm an assassin with that kind of weapon. I don't think if Cersei made the call, there's no way she gives him a weapon like that. That's foolish, because a handful of people can even afford such a weapon like that. I think it was Joffrey.
The weapon and your breakdown of that does give it some weight so it can be Joffrey. But I don't think he had the IQ for that, bro.
Maybe not
later on, but at that time, we gotta talk about not the future episodes or future stories we know about. Right there at that moment, I don't think he not only had the courage or the intellect to do that. Damn, bro. Yeah, I'm going with Cersei. I know because she got wiser and got better at the game as time went by. But she was adamant about, hey, I will lose everything if everyone finds out about this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jamie would do anything for her, and you already said that Jamie would did it himself. So therefore, I think they just, hey, yo, knock us out. They will know. We all went different parties, different ways. Take care of this when we leave. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cersei. Yeah.
Okay, and
it's a good thing, though.
To be fair, it probably was Cersei. It probably was Cersei, and maybe we're giving her too much credit to be like, oh no, she wouldn't be so much of a fool as to give them that kind of weapon. It was like, I don't know. Have you seen some of the decisions that Cersei's made?
That was like an early sign of a menace. Like she is literally a waiting wrecking ball to everyone that ever crossed paths with her. Yeah. No one's ever been the same when you walk past her. Yeah. Ever. Including Jamie. Never.
Facts. Yeah. So, all right. So none of our speculation is kind of out the way. Obviously they have a little talk in that room. Catelyn, Robb, Theon, Maester Luwin, Sir Roderick. She tells them about the letter that she got from Lysa. Mm-hmm. So now they're all in on Lannister speculation, which, I mean, I don't blame them. I mean, all the evidence is there, especially with Bran getting pushed out of the window, coupled with the whole Aunt Lysa thing. So Catelyn has this grand idea that someone should go to King's Landing. Robb volunteers to go, and I think this is the first time we hear there must always be a Stark in Winterfell.
Which is, it's true. It's very true. But also it tells you that there's no one else around that's ready. Like for her to feel she has to do it. It was an eye-opening experience knowing that, hey, Bran's protected. The wolf showed me in my very eyes that no matter what person that he's protected. And then you think about how her sister and think about how getting back to her husband and how the game really works. She's the only seasoned member that actually can know how to maneuver and how I'm not going to follow the way everyone else went. I got to go back way. And I'm going to do this way, gather my people and do it this kind of way. Robb would have screwed it up. I think Robb absolutely would have messed that up. And there's a bunch of little kids.
Yeah, I mean, to Catelyn's point, number one, he had to stay there because you do have to have a Stark authority figure in Winterfell at all times. I do think that's very important for both political and other reasons that we do not have time to get into today. But I'm sure we will speculate about why having a Stark in Winterfell is extremely important outside of just politics. But anyways, Theon's still a child at this point. I mean, he's maybe a year older than Robb at most. Sir Roderick offers to go with her, at least, because she doesn't want to go with like a big company because that's going to attract attention. So the chapter ends with basically her agreeing to go with Sir Roderick and going down to White Harbor to catch a ship and beat Ned and the King's retainers to King's Landing before they can get there. So, I mean, this whole Lannister speculation, kind of backdoor kind of situation we got brewing here, this is really the beginning of the end for a lot of folks.
It also tells you how nothing is of face value. The things we read, we have to almost double back and read the chapter before or the 2 chapters before to realize that things are being put in place right now for 5 chapters now. Then we have to go back and see what has happened. Like, even how the map is, I'm going to beat them there. I'm going to do all this. Like, you're already thinking about treason. You're thinking all out assault because you're in your mind. You already know they did it. And then you're going to present to Mr. Honor is Ned. Like, yo, bro, you relax. We got to talk this through. What's going on? It's already going to be 2 opposite sides. I'm ready to fight versus I want to talk. It's not going to work. It's not.
Right.
You're going down there.
Well, and like to your point, man, it's just like, we've already gotten that letter from Lysa.
Mm-hmm.
And then, now because of the assassin, someone pushed Bran out that window.
Yes.
Right. And then we talk about the evidence of a very, very fancy dagger. Only a really, 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 really wealthy person could have given him that dagger. And there's not a whole lot of Valyrian steel daggers, let alone daggers that are, that have dragon bone hilts. That tells me it was part of the royal vault at some point. That's why I'm pinpointing it to either Cersei or Joffrey, but that's neither here nor there.
Are we so blinded that we're not thinking Tywin would do it?
I just think logistically Tywin wouldn't have even known what happened.
Okay.
And he wouldn't have suspected that Jaime and Cersei had anything to do with it just on its face. If someone, like, imagine like Tywin getting a rider in the night and someone being like, hey, your family was up in Winterfell and Ned Stark's boy fell from a tower. Tywin's going to be like, all right, what the fuck does that got to do with me?
I see that. I do. I just think about like the intellect of how each character that's at that particular moment. I just don't see them pulling this plan out, which it didn't work out at all. But just them even to think about, light the library up there. They're all going to go that way anyway, and then come back door.
Well, plus too, like Tywin wouldn't have known what was going on because he wouldn't have wanted to know what was going on between Jaime and Cersei in the first place. So, like, that's what I'm saying. The person who hired that person to kill Bran. Now I'm talking myself into it being Cersei, which it probably was. if we're being completely honest, it's probably Cersei because she has the most motive to want Bran dead.
Yeah, she definitely does. She loses everything.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's
spicy, bro.
It's spicy. It's getting spicy. It's getting spicy. We're back on the road, heading down towards King's Landing next week with Sansa. I think this is Sansa's first chapter or second chapter. I think it's first chapter. Bro. Yeah, because we had Arya last time. I'm excited to see how you're gonna take to Sansa chapters because they're a little bit annoying. I'm not gonna lie. They're definitely a far cry from Arya chapters.
They're polar opposites. I get it. I'm like, this is my first time reading her chapter, so I'm like excited. But at the same time, like, yo, if you're like your mom, I'm gonna freaking like put you on my list. You're on my list. I don't care.
No, she's not like she's nasty to people, but I think because she's a child, she gets a little bit more leeway. Because I don't think sometimes like when she talks about Jon, when she kind of talks down to Jon, I don't think she understands really like the damage it does emotionally. Mm-hmm. I think she's just repeating that because that's what her mom feels. So of course. That's how she's going to feel. She's the eldest daughter and she's pretty and, people dote on her all the time. So like, she's kind of got this little bit of a snobby, like high society. But that's the way that she was raised. She was raised to believe, my station is up here. Everyone else is, I mean, think about it. Yeah. If you're a 12, 13-year-old girl in this world and you just got betrothed to the crown prince of the country. Yeah, you're gonna think you're hot shit.
I get it.
You're gonna think you're hot shit. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but anyways, guys, definitely, check us out. Let us know what you guys thought about the chapter. We're doing Sansa next week. We actually did not poo-poo on Cat on this round. So
this was her best chapter in primarily because it had nothing to do with her. It is dealt with other forces. Like she's a complete self. I'm not gonna do that. Positive podcast today. Positive.
We love you, Catelyn Stark. We love you so much.
I don't. It's a piece of work.
Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, guys. Let us know what you guys thought about it. Also, would love to hear your theories about who you think is responsible for hiring that assassin. Would love to hear any different perspective you guys have. But I've been Prince Duran. It's a pleasure as always, bro. And we'll catch you guys in Westeros next week.
Peace.